What's up, Variant Nation? This past weekend, Incredibles 2 finally landed in theaters after a 14-year hiatus, and man, was it a crap ton of fun to go back to that world. Just nostalgia-induced happiness all over the place, and you can watch my spoiler-free review and/or spoilerific review of the movie here. But the return of The Incredibles also had us talking about all the different animated superhero movies and which ones were the best overall. So today, we're going to show you which ones landed on our top 10. But first, this episode is sponsored by the amazing Dollar Shave Club. When it comes to Dollar Shave Club, we all know they have quality razors at a great price. But did you know that they also have everything from soap and body wash to toothbrushes, toothpaste, hair care products, and the glorious and ever-refreshing One Wipe Charlies? I mean, we haven't proven it yet, but I'm pretty sure these wipes were forged by Zeus himself. Seriously, it's like a spa day for your butt crack. Just go to dollarshaveclub.com/variant or click the link in the description to try some of these awesome products for only $5. After that, Dollar Shave Club will send you replacement razors for only a couple of bucks a month. Again, just head over to dollarshaveclub.com/variant and get your starter set. Do it for your butt. Your butt deserves it. Okay, so this list actually comes with a caveat, which is that the superhero animation game has been dominated by the DC animated universe for many years. We even considered limiting the number of entries DC could have on the list, but ultimately decided that that would water it down and wouldn't represent our true top 10. So while a few others didn't make the cut, DC is universally regarded as king of the superhero animation game for a reason. In fact, they lead us off at number 10. Coming in at number 10 is 2009's Superman Batman Public Enemies, based off the graphic novel of the same name. When Superman and Batman become suspicious of now President Lex Luthor's agenda, they're declared enemies of the state, and Luthor sends every hero and villain he can find to hunt them down. This results in one of the more fun stories DC Animation has ever put together, including an utterly ridiculous number of DC characters making appearances to take on Supes and Batman. The fight scenes alone make this well worth the watch. Next up, at number 9, is the animated telling of possibly the greatest comic book story ever written. I'm talking about Batman: The Dark Knight Returns Part 1 and 2. Yes, it's technically 2 movies, but it's one long continuous story broken into 2 parts, so we're counting them as one. Anyway, this Batman tale is so well known, I don't think I really need to elaborate on the plot. But whenever anyone takes on this classic story by Frank Miller, it comes with a lot of weighty expectations. Well, between 2012 and 2013, Warner Brothers and DC Entertainment did just that, and thankfully, they were up for the challenge. They managed to stay very true to the original story, bringing to life the raw and violent version of Batman that changed the way comics were written. That includes the brutal fights against both Superman and the Joker. In the end, it was an impressive adaptation done right, and worthy of its place on our list. Number 8 on our list is 2014's Big Hero 6. This awesome movie, loosely based on the Marvel comic of the same name, is about a young science prodigy named Hero, who uses his knowledge of robotics and technology to create a superhero team capable of battling a masked and dangerous villain. In fact, Big Hero 6 was Disney's first animated film to feature Marvel Comics characters, and it paid off, as the movie's combination of a good story, memorable and quotable characters, and an interesting and complex villain led to an Academy Award for Best Animated Feature. Baymax and his relationship with Hero makes this movie worth watching alone, but it's also action-packed, funny, and heartwarming. Honestly, I'm surprised that Disney hasn't done more with this property, but I'm sure that won't last long. Landing at number 7 is another classic comic book story turned animated movie, Grant Morrison's All-Star Superman from 2011. This movie follows Superman during the last year of his life, after he was forced to absorb a lethal dose of radiation by Lex Luthor. And like the original story, Superman spends the time he has left protecting Earth and the people who live on it. It's just a hopeful and relentlessly optimistic movie that really shows Supes at his best. And for those Superman fans who weren't thrilled with Man of Steel or BVS, All-Star Superman is probably the perfect remedy for you. Number 6 is yet another entry from DC Animation, and that is 2015's Justice League Gods and Monsters. This original Elseworld story was a longtime passion project for DC icon Bruce Timm that centers around a vampire Batman, a Wonder Woman who's from Apokolips, and a Superman who is the son of Zod. After falling out of favor with the world's governments led by Amanda Waller due to suspicious deaths of 3 top scientists, this alternate and darker version of the Trinity waged war against the story's villain Will Magnus and his assassin robots, the Metal Men. Animated in the style of the Justice League series, Gods and Monsters is easily among the best of DC's more recent animated films and should be on any comic fan's watch list. Number 5 on our list is Justice League: The Flashpoint Paradox, based on Jeff Johns' popular Flashpoint story arc. Look, this movie is not only as good as the source material, it also expands the story in certain ways. And it manages to accomplish that feat while condensing the entire complex story into a single movie. Along with getting to see the birth of the New 52 on screen, Flashpoint Paradox gives us one of the few movies with Flash as the main character. Simply put, if a battle between Barry Allen Flash and Reverse Flash, getting to see a gun-wielding Thomas Wayne Batman, and a war between Amazons and Atlanteans isn't enough to get you worked up, nothing will. Coming in at number 4 is a major fan favorite, myself included, Batman Under the Red Hood. This awesome 2010 telling of the return of Jason Todd as the brutal and vengeful anti-hero Red Hood is without a doubt among the DC animated universe's best. In fact, I'd go so far to say that it's among the best Batman movies ever made. One of my favorite aspects of this movie is how it explores Batman's rule against killing and how far he'd really go before breaking it. It's just a brilliantly written movie with surprisingly great performances by Bruce Greenwood as Batman, Jensen Ackles as Jason Todd, and Neil Patrick Harris as Nightwing. I can't recommend Under the Red Hood enough. Sitting pretty at number 3 is 2004's The Incredibles. I've said it many times on the show, but this Pixar movie about a family of supers trying to survive in a world where superheroes are illegal is one of my absolute favorite superhero movies of all time, and easily one of Pixar's best. Director Brad Bird's unique style that infused a 50s era vibe into a modern setting gives this movie a fantastical feel right off the bat. Then you meet Mr. Incredible, Elastigirl, Frozone, Violet, Dash, and Jack-Jack, after which you're pretty much locked in for the ride. They're just such a great group of original characters, including Syndrome, the Lex Luthor-style villain, voiced perfectly by Jason Lee. In the end, The Incredibles has pretty much everything you want in a good superhero movie, from adventure and excitement to lighthearted humor and the feels. Which is the reason there's been so much anticipation for Incredibles 2. And believe me, it doesn't disappoint, but the original is still the champ. At runner-up is another classic born out of Bruce Timm and Paul Dini's DC universe, and that would be Batman Beyond: Return of the Joker. Within the Batman the Animated Series continuity, this movie takes us 40 years into the future where Bruce Wayne is now retired and has mentored a new kid named Terry McGinnis to take up the cape and cowl. Batman Beyond, of course, also had its own weekly series back in the late 90s and early 2000s. That was equally awesome, but this movie was easily the character's highlight. I mean, the plot of this movie was just freaking awesome with all the crazy twists and turns, amazing action set in both the past and the future, and characters from Tim Drake to Harley Quinn and now an older Commissioner Barbara Gordon, all voiced by the same actors from both original series. It's just freaking beautiful in every way and is a must-watch, especially for Batman the Animated Series fans. Taking the top spot is the granddaddy of them all, Batman Mask of the Phantasm. Listen, I did warn you that DC dominated the animated superhero game, while Warner Brothers and DC both set a high bar in 1993 with this masterpiece. The story is the direct extension from Batman the Animated Series, that jumps back and forth in time, diving deeper into Bruce's past and some of the circumstances that shaped him even after the death of his parents, including the introduction of a new character called the Phantasm, who is killing off criminals and pushing Batman to the edge in ways he didn't think possible. The Phantasm was such a great addition to the Batman Animated Series mythos that the character went on to appear in several comic titles and the Justice League Unlimited series. Ultimately, this movie succeeded in capturing everything that was great about Batman the Animated Series while incorporating new backstory and characters. And on top of being one of the few wide theatrical releases on this list, Mask of the Phantasm is either inspired or flat out paved the way for nearly every other animated movie in our top 10, which is why many years later, it's still the big dog. Now that's our top 10 list, but a few very honorable mentions would be Justice League Doom, Batman and Mr. Freeze Sub-Zero, Planet Hulk, Wonder Woman, and Batman Gotham by Gaslight. If you haven't already seen them, add those to your watch list as well. If you have, just watch them again. It's fun. While you're at it, let us know what your top 10 favorite animated superhero movies are in the comment section below. First up for Wednesday, June 19th, we have Tony Stark Iron Man Issue 1. Famed Spider-Man writer Dan Slott is now writing Iron Man. This title promises to bring the Tony Stark Iron Man we all know and love back in the comic spotlight once again. Now we have the Man of Steel Issue 4. Rogol Zaar has committed a string of atrocities across the cosmos that have led him to the Fortress of Solitude, and now Superman and Supergirl plan to crush his schemes. Here we have X-Men Gold Issue 30. It's finally happening, guys. Colossus and Kitty Pryde are getting married, and we get to see them walk down the aisle in this issue. Now we have Batman Issue 49. It's up to Catwoman to rescue her one true love. It's the cat versus the clown, and one exciting showdown that sets the stage for our giant anniversary issue and the biggest union in comics. And finally, we have the Justice League Issue 2. The League faced an impossible decision, and now they must face the consequences, while Martian Manhunter and Batman attempt to recruit an old ally back into the fold. And that's going to bring another episode of Ant to a close, but remember the link for Dollar Shave Club's Daily Essential Starter Set is in the description below. The razors and body wash, all their products are really good. I personally use them myself, so you can't go wrong. With that said, remember to follow us on all our forms of social media like Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and check out our website. Links for that is also in the description. And if you like the channel, be sure to subscribe and then hit the bell next to it so you're notified whenever we upload a new video. But I'll see you guys next time when I talk about all things comics.